Radney Foster fan for a long time. I didn't know this until we talked today. You've actually loved country music.
For a long time. A long time. I mean, it's country. I was born and raised in South Carolina, and country music's always been around. You know, even if you talk, hee-haw was really big for us and stuff like that. But for me, AM radio growing up, the great thing about AM radio when I was a kid was you could hear Stevie Wonder, then you'd hear Rolling Stones, then you'd hear Buck Owens. You know, and that was commonplace on radio down in the South. You know, and that was just the way it was, and I loved that. And my mom was always really cool. She never was that person who told me I had to listen to this. I mean, I could listen to whatever I wanted to as long as she could take it, and then when she couldn't take it anymore, she had to put on an Al Green record for me to listen to, and I was fine with that. But, so I was exposed to a lot of music, and country is one of those music that I loved it. I mean, I loved it.
Did you ever go to any country concerts as a kid growing up?
No, I didn't go to any concerts as a kid growing up. The only concert I ever went to as a kid, I went to see Ray Charles in Charleston County Hall once, and that's the only concert I went to until I was in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us a story? Can you repeat the story about the time you saw Foster and Lloyd in concert? It's a great story.
Absolutely. I see Foster and Lloyd. I'm crazy about this band, and it's the first time I've ever seen them. They're on tour for their second record, and I'm crazy about them. So I get to the show, and I'm about 4 songs in, and so they're singing, and I'm getting drunk, and they're playing, and so it gets to the end of the show, and I haven't heard "You Can Come Crying to Me," which is one of my favorite songs they've ever done, and so I'm yelling it in between every song. You can come crying to me. So they finish the show, they come back for an encore, and I'm yelling it. You can come crying to me, and they finish the encore and come back and they haven't played it yet, and so needless to say, I'm still yelling it, like the guy that I hate now in concert. I'm the guy that I hate now, and so I get up there, and Bill, with as nice as he can be, looks over at me and says, "Hey man, we played that earlier. I don't think you were here yet, but we already played that one." And so I look up at Randy and I look around the building, and I look up and say, "Hey man, I'm the only black guy in this place. You mean to tell me you can't play the one song for me?" And Randy looks at Bill and goes, "He's right." And so they play it, and years later, I'm at a Randy concert, Hootie's doing what we're doing, and I get to meet Randy Foster, and we're sitting around, and I start telling that story, and before I get the second sentence, Randy just yells at me, "That was you?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, that was me." Didn't you? He remembered that, but that was a great day, yeah. And, our friendship's been great, and he's still my F's. Every time I open my mouth in country music, I'm trying to be Randy Foster.
Really?
Yes.
And you sing the background vocals for Randy's song, "Rain on Sunday," which Keith Urban later turned into a big hit.
I always tell Randy I made him a lot of money because I think Keith heard my background vocals.
Have you told Keith that story yet?
Yeah, Keith. Keith, actually, when I met Keith, the first time I met Keith, I walked up to him at a Capitol thing, and the first thing he said, "You're the guy that sang on Rain on Sunday." He already knows. I was like, "Yeah, I did." Yeah, it was cool.